Okay, so we're going to be looking at the different ways that you can dispute and remove your inquiries without having to pay anybody else and keep that money in your pocket, basically. Let's jump right in, deleting your inquiries for free. So there's a couple different methods that we're going to go over, okay? And I'm not saying that I condone all of them or that they all work. We're just looking at what's available, okay? Now, there are things that we are not going to go over, like coding and different softwares that are not the regular known ones, because there are other methods out there, but they're not available to everybody. So that's why we're not going over them. So we have what many people use: identity theft. Now, this is using section 605B in a police report. A lot of you are already familiar with that. And then we have disputing online via any of the sites that allow you to dispute your credit report, like Credit Karma, Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. And then by calling each respective bureau to dispute. Now, some of the times you can actually not do it this way. It depends on who you get on the phone with, and you have to realize that things are changing all the time. So just because you were able to do it 5 years ago does not mean that you can do it now. All right. And then obviously sending non-identity theft letters to the bureaus to remove them, and then directly disputing with the creditors. When does it happen? When does an inquiry occur? So this will be either when you go for a new job. And I did split up employment and new job, because employment can be even if you're contracted with the Army, or literally just with another, you're contracted for a company. Child support or court order. Collections or reevaluation of credit. And this is the one that is happening right now: reevaluation of credit. If you don't know what I'm talking about, please go and check out my most recent videos. New credit application, obviously, business, and then number 6, like I said, I split it up: new job. Okay. And how much do they hurt me? So inquiries stay on for 2 years unless they are business related. Business related ones will remain for longer than that. And each of them can drop your score 3 to 5 points. And this is each, not in total, but each. So if you have 20 inquiries that, pop up because you went to, get a vehicle or whatever, then I mean, if you put more than 30 days in between, then each of those are going to hurt you 3 to 5 points. It makes up 10% of your credit score. Now, this is one of the reasons that I do not do inquiries, nor do I want to do inquiries. Your payment history is 35%. The second most important thing is your available credit, which is 30%. So those are much more important than inquiries, and which is, like I said, one of the reasons why I don't do them. And then one of the things that you should know is that if it's auto or mortgage related, they only count as one against your score if it's within a 30-day period. And this will depend on the FICO model that's being used, because the FICO 98 is different than the FICO 08. Okay, so it may be a 45-day period, but just to be safe, you should tell yourself 30 days. Now, what this means is that they're not going to disappear from your credit. It's just that with your score, when it's calculated, they're only going to hurt 3 to 5 points in total versus 3 to 5 points each if it's within a 30-day period. Now, of course, you may be wondering why I'm giving you this information, right? So let me just lay it out like this. It costs too much, right? Let's just calculate. It's 50 cents per stamp. And the best way to do this is by disputing directly with the creditors. So if it's 50 cents per stamp plus other expenses such as envelopes, paper, ink, and my time, just look at the outcome. You don't get a lot of bang for your buck, right? Inquiries are only 10% of your score, like I said, versus other elements such as payment history, which is 35%, and utilization, which is 30%. So by removing those other elements of your account, like late payments and charge-offs, that's like 240 points versus 3 to 5 points. So the math just doesn't equate, right? And unfortunately, a lot of the time, it's a shot in the dark. If you compare the probability of removal between inaccurate accounts and inquiries, your probability of removal for accounts is drastically higher than that of an inquiry. You see, the most important thing that you should know is where to pull your credit report from. It's not what's the best method, it's the best information, all right? Because this is one of the most asked questions that I always have. Where do I pull my credit report from? And here's the answer: Identity IQ. So the very top image is what it looks like, listing all of the inquiries. All the way over on the right, you see what bureau. Next to that, going to the left, you see the date of the inquiry. Going to the left of that, the type, right? Like variety store, bank, credit card, bank, finance, personal, et cetera, auto financing. And then all the way, why I say very, all the way to the left, you're going to see the actual name, right? So we have Macy's, Barclays, all that kind of stuff. Now, the second image on the bottom is the creditor information. So if I was looking for Capital One Auto Finance to go with the Capital One Auto Finance inquiry, I would look at the creditor information. It has their name, their address, and their phone number. So I don't have to go look it up online. You'll find that many credit monitoring sites do not have all this information. All right. So if we look at the identity theft method first, as I'm sure you're well aware, you use 605B, as in section 605B, to remove your negative items, right? Whether that is an inquiry or an account or a bankruptcy, whatever. Okay, so anything that is related to identity theft. And I'm talking about where someone actually stole your information, your identification, whatever it is, and they did not have the authorization to do so. So you send out your 605B letter, all right? It is going to include a police report, not an online police report, but you physically went in and stated, hey, look, I'm a victim of identity theft, and all of these accounts that are listed on here are related to this, okay? If your accounts are not listed on your police report, they cannot be listed in an identity theft in the identity theft letter. Sorry, I was trying to figure out what to call it. So I will let you know that if you do a false police report, it is a C felony. Okay, I'm not trying to scare you. I'm not trying to say that I have leverage over you or anything like that. I'm just saying it's a C felony. Do not do it if it is not true. Okay. After the police report, you must also include an affidavit. Okay. And once again, this is also something you don't want to do. Do not fill this out and include it if it is not true, because at the end of it, you are swearing that all this information is correct and true to the best of my knowledge, right? And that's perjury if it's not true. That's a year in prison. All right. So let's just move past that, and we're just going to pretend like everything is legit, right? The 605B letter is something that you should be using. You're going to include inquiries that are actually, from a fraudulent event. The police report is not false. The affidavit is true. And you're going to put all of this stuff with your letter and send it to the credit bureaus, okay? And the only reason they would remove an inquiry if it is for fraud. Otherwise, you're just going to be told that it's a matter of record and that they're not going to do anything about it. So I will be showing you very simply what you can do to kind of help you in this situation, whether you are disputing with them for a non-fraudulent event or for fraud. Okay, so the next thing after that would be disputing with the creditor. Okay, and this is the main avenue for disputing inquiries. If this does not work, you can then go to the CFPB, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. All right. If it is truly, please listen to my words. If it is truly identity theft, that's why it says fact, you can utilize the CFPB complaints. If it is not, do not go any further. Do not do CFPB complaints or any other complaints. Okay. So the very last step to this would be other complaints, BBB, Attorney General, I don't know why it says AF, but that's supposed to be AG, et cetera, okay? So do not do it if it's not actual fraud. I cannot emphasize that enough, okay? That is basically the way that the identity theft method works. All right, so when it works, this means you're an actual victim of identity theft and you are able to prove with documentation, travel docs, email statements, complaints, communication, etc. When it doesn't work is when there's, it's real, but there's no proof. I see this all the time. Someone tells me, because obviously I have no way of knowing for sure, oh, I'm an actual victim, yada, yada, but I have no proof. I've got nothing at all whatsoever that proves that I am, okay? So if you are not an actual victim, it's not going to work for you. Now, see, it used to years ago, but millions of people utilize this method when they were not supposed to because it is only for victims of identity theft. You see, they're supposed to actually remove all of your negative items that are included in the identity theft report within 4 business days. This is why millions of people used it when they were not supposed to. However, because of that, now for real victims, it doesn't really work anymore. All right. So now, if it does, the pros of it would be that you may possibly, it may be possibly faster, but in this current economy and situation, it may be the same time frame as a non-identity theft dispute, right? And then of course the cons is that this method is used when it shouldn't be. It can block you from future disputes. Let's just look at this with common sense. It is very difficult to first say, oh, I'm a victim of fraud, and then say, oh, it's mine, but it's just that, whatever the dispute reason is, it was unauthorized, I didn't know about it, it's not mine, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so creditors will also see you as a risk if you have a fraud alert. So there's many different layers of this, and that's why I'm giving all this information. So when it comes to online disputes, these are the type that you can use or do. So we have an example for Credit Karma, Direct Bureau site, and then Experian. So let's look at something similar to Credit Karma. And I say similar to because there's many sites and places that you can do an online dispute. But using Credit Karma for the obvious reason that everybody knows Credit Karma, and most disputes are done online with them because they make it so easy, right? So the bureaus make it really simple to make an online dispute because your electronic submission directly goes into their eOscar system. Did you know that? Probably not. You don't even know that you're giving up your rights under Section 611 and 623. So having said that, you can dispute your inquiries online, including sites like Credit Karma, but you want to choose the reason for unauthorized, not mine. I mean, unless that's actually true, but unauthorized. Okay. So if you're not familiar with Section 611 or 623, what it basically comes down to is that you are giving up your rights to, number one, sue them, meaning the bureaus or the creditors, and number two, that the bureaus don't have to send over any relevant documentation that you include, so don't bother. And number three, that when it comes back and it's not in your favor, that you're not going to do anything about it. Now, the reason I'm even telling you about online disputes is because the only thing that you can dispute online, the only thing you can dispute online is going to be inquiries. Don't bother with your accounts. Okay, I'm not going to go that far into why and all that kind of stuff. Just take my word for it. If you don't believe me, look it up. Okay, so when it comes to your accounts, it is very highly unadvisable that you do it online. However, once again, with inquiries, because there's not that much damage that you can do with inquiries, you can dispute them online. Sometimes they come off, sometimes they don't. Sometimes it's just a shot in the dark. Okay, so now if you want to dispute them directly with the bureaus, you can do this with TransUnion and Equifax only. So it's transunion.com and Equifax.com, but that's kind of like disputing with Credit Karma, right? So you would go, and I'm not going to explain how to do it. There's other videos on how to do this. If you go back maybe 3 years or so in my videos, you would go and start your online dispute, go and find your inquiries and dispute them. Once again, your reason would be unauthorized. So you're not going through a third-party site like Credit Check Total or Credit Karma. This is a direct bureau. Okay, so the one that you cannot do online is going to be Experian. Experian is the most difficult to deal with. I don't know why. I don't know what their issue is, but it is what it is. You just have to deal with it. You have to find ways around it, and you just have to keep going, all right? So if you are going to dispute online, you cannot do it with Experian. Now, you can do phone disputes. However, most of the time, you're really not going to get anywhere. So I don't, especially now in the current situation that we're dealing with, I don't recommend wasting 3 hours of your life sitting on the phone to be told that you can't do it. It did work maybe a couple of years ago, like 5-6 years ago, but now it's just an absolute waste of time. Okay, so no phone disputes. I didn't even make a slide for it. That's how worthless it is. Okay, so if you want to know what the smoking gun is, you're going to want to stay till the end because I don't want you to miss it. So when I do inquiries, I'm going to show you what I actually use. Okay, so now you're going to want to know what your letters should look like. So you're going to be able to access these very simply by clicking on the link that you find with this. It'll also be emailed to you so that you can actually read through these. Now, this is directly from my course, and You don't need to use any templates, but this is just how to dispute via mail. Okay, so we've already gone over unauthorized inquiry disputes, right? We already went over online. We already talked about the phone. We already talked about all that stuff. And this is just how you would categorize and write your disputes. Okay, so you don't really have to put a re on there, re unauthorized inquiries, but you can if you would like to. That's completely fine. The entire point is that you are letting the bureaus know, hey, look, even though I know you're going to say that this is a matter of record, even though I know you're not going to do anything, I am disputing this because it's on my credit report and you're in charge of my credit report. Where the heck is the proof? Because a lot of the times they're not going to have any proof, okay? So this is a round 2 inquiry dispute. Once again, this is going to the bureaus. I'm going to show you as well what you would write to the creditors. All right, so then we have a round 3. This is my last and final letter to your non-compliant company, blah, blah, blah. Now, this follows very, very simple, like a FCRA standard letter, okay? Now, the only reason I'm showing you this once again is because it is a guide on understanding how you can dispute inquiries if you have no idea what you're doing. Now, I don't recommend actually using these because I do not want you sending out any templates. But what I want you to do is to study this information, right? And to consume it and then to turn it into your own letter. Okay, so this is how I write my letter. First, I have to let them know why I'm disputing this, what I'm disputing, and then obviously what I want to happen. The same as factual disputes and the same way that you write simple letters. Okay, so then we have inquiry dispute to the creditor. The creditor is the one that's going to get the negative item deleted. Okay, once again, the creditor is the one that's going to delete it. And yes, you can sue them, okay? You can sue the creditors. You can sue the bureaus. You can sue whoever the heck you want to, all right? So now, as far as putting in laws and all of that, you really, really, really do not need to do that. But if you want to, that's okay. You can do that. However, once again, I recommend that you do a regular factual dispute, ask for the authorization. Where's the proof? Where's my signature? I know you don't have it. And bottom line is, get it off my credit report. It is as simple as that. There's nothing more to it. This would be an example of an identity theft letter. Now, most of the time when it comes to something such as identity theft, you can use a template just so that you're ensuring that everything that's required is going to be there. However, this is as simple as stating that you're a victim of identity theft, the section that goes with it, because there's very specific things that you want to say in this letter, and whatever else is relevant, such as I was on a cruise, I was in Germany, the inquiries listed after X date were not initiated by me, I lost my entire purse, my wallet, inside of it was my social, my cards, my license. You do want to say that you obtained a police report that lists, the inquiries or accounts or whatever it is that you're disputing as fraud related, and have included it with your letter, affidavit, and identification. And then this is the way that you would list them. And I do have accounts and inquiries on here just because I was going to make this example between inquiries and accounts. But anywho, that do not belong to me. Creditor name, inquiry date, which you would of course take directly from your credit report. This inquiry must be deleted or removed within 4 business days pursuant to 605B due to identity theft. You write however many of them are on there, and then I would like to see a new report that reflects that this info was deleted for fraud. Thank you, your name. You must, and I've already said this, but you must include all of the inquiries that were included in the fraud on the police report. If they are not on there, you're going to be in a world of, or not trouble, but you're gonna have issues, okay? You don't wanna have issues. So why don't you just do it the right way the first time and get it over with? Okay, so credit bureaus continued. So once again, if it's not due to fraud, don't bother disputing with the credit bureaus. They will simply tell you that it's a matter of record. So you do not dispute any inquiries that are attached to accounts, or they will be closed. So what this means is that if you have an account with Capital One that also has an inquiry from you applying for it, do not dispute it. They will close the account. If you also have an inquiry from Cap One that was, done for a different card, or it was a different week prior, I recommend that you do not dispute it. They will consider it fraud and will close your account. Okay, please do not do it. Now, one of the things that's going to help you is if you block or you suppress Sage Stream. Okay, so before you do anything with inquiries, this is inquiries only. My recommendation is to block or suppress Sage Stream. So this is where inquiries are verified. If you do dispute with the bureaus and they perform an actual investigation, which most of the time they won't, they will simply check with Sage Stream to see if they are valid or not. It's a very, very simple tactic. Okay, so before we get to the smoking gun, this is the last section. Okay, so these are my finishing thoughts, and it is very, very important. Number one, the longer you dispute, the harder it is. And no, I'm not all about giving bad news, because the good news is that you can remove anything except for child support off your credit report, right? But you have to respect the person that in a time like this, that they're not going to play with your emotions. They're not going to, sugarcoat stuff and make things what they're not. That's not me. That is not me. I'm not going to tell you that things are overnight. I'm not going to tell you that, in 30 days, all your negative items, whatever they are going to fall off. No, this is really, really hard work, and anything worth having is going to be difficult. It's going to be a process, okay? But it's a life-changing process. And slow doesn't mean that nothing's happening. It just means that patience is needed for this life-changing process, okay? And the bureaus can't speak for the creditor's money. That also includes inquiries. Now, inquiries don't cost money per se. I mean, it does cost for their system, and they do have to buy that information from the bureaus, but it's a little bit different than the accounts. All I'm saying is that they are not the ones that remove the negative items. It's the creditors, and the bureaus cannot speak for the creditors, just as I can't speak for the bureaus, and neither can you. So if anybody ever guarantees you anything, it doesn't make any sense, right? Because they can't speak for someone else. They can't speak for someone else's money. So watch out for the person that tells you exactly what you want to hear, because all they're doing is mirroring what you are telling them, okay? If you get on the phone with someone, do not tell them what you want. You want to find out what their program is like. And this doesn't just go for credit, right? Because obviously if you need help, come to me, okay? I'm talking about anything. Do not tell people what you're looking for, because all they're going to do is mirror what you said you want. And guess what? That's the program you're going to get, but on paper, right? It's not going to exist, because you can't speak for someone else, okay? You can't speak for your husband. You can't speak for your wife. You can't speak for your children, okay? And the process is slow right now, but slow doesn't mean nothing's happening, okay? And use the correct methods and reasons. This is the number one reason that people don't get results, because they don't understand what they're using. They don't understand what they're saying, and they don't understand what they're sending. Okay. And 10% isn't a lot. 10% of your credit score, okay, what makes up your credit score, the whole FICO breakdown and all that, 10% of that is your credit inquiries. Okay. After 12 months, they don't even hurt you. They're only 3 to 5 points each. All right. 10% is not a lot. So don't freak out about your inquiries. I have a lot of people that come to me and they're like, oh, I have 100 inquiries in total and blah, blah, blah. Most of the time I tell them, hey, look, unless you want to pay $1,500 to like $2,800 or more, you should probably do this yourself, or do nothing at all and just sit on them for 2 years. While that may seem like a long time, is it worth $3,000 to you or more? I know a company right off the top of my head that would charge you $5,000 for 100 inquiries. Okay. So you have to understand that there should be a fair exchange between what you are paying and what you are getting. If there is not, then you shouldn't be doing it. And identity IQ will take you to the promised land. What I mean by that is that it's not like a flying carpet. It's not going to literally pick you up and take you there, but it will give you the information that you need to get off whatever the heck it is that you are disputing. In this case, it will be inquiries, okay? And you have to understand the process. If you don't understand the process, you're not going to get anywhere. You will not succeed. So many people, I don't even want to tell you about a conversation I had yesterday, but so many people think that this is an overnight process. Like, who said that? Where are you getting this information from? It doesn't exist. It does not exist, and you don't want to put yourself in that position. You're a grown-ass adult, okay? And if you can, calculate 1 + 1, then you should be able to figure, using common sense, that you can't force people to do anything. All right. I mean, right now, everything is slow. The banks, transactions, applications, letters, deliveries, online orders, processes, even going to the ATM, going to McDonald's, going to Walmart, standing in line to get into Costco, getting on the phone. Everything is a slow process right now because nothing is normal. And even when it is normal, there's still a process. So just imagine. I mean, there's people out there that had perfect credit and were never late and they can't even get money right now. They can't even get credit. Credit card companies are literally closing accounts. So where do you get that things are going to be quick for you? You get what I'm saying? So you have to understand the process. And when you understand the process, you can move forward. And this is my smoking gun. Some of you may already know it, but this is using an unauthorized inquiry dispute directly to the credit bureaus. Okay. Now you can also send this to the creditor. So instead of the credit bureau on their address, you would put the creditor. All right. So very simply, the FCRA states that the only permissible purpose for pulling someone's credit report is, and this is directly from section 604 of the FCRA, firm offer of credit. A firm offer of credit, insurance, a court order, and employment. I recently pulled a copy of my credit report and noticed inquiries that I did not authorize and do not fit A, B, C, or D above. And then you put the creditor name and the date of inquiry. Please remove these inquiries from my credit report as they were not authorized. Your name. Okay, so let's just break this down. Section 604 states the permissible purposes for pulling someone credit report, right? Firm offer of credit, insurance, a court order, and employment. A firm offer of credit means that you know you are going to get that account, which means that there would be no inquiries on your credit report that are not attached to accounts. This is the smoking gun. This is the smoking gun, all right? So you can ask for proof all you want. You can, whatever, but this is the way that I get most of my inquiries removed, all right? This is the way. So there it is, guys. All right, so if you need my assistance, my name is Kristen Vargas. I'm the CEO and founder of Expert Credit Suites. There is my email address, kristen@expertcreditsuites.com. You can schedule an appointment with me, not for inquiries, obviously, but if you would like to remove the negative items from your credit report once and for all, permanently, not overnight, using realistic expectations and being mentally prepared, then please go schedule that call, because right now there's tons of people that are willing to get into your pocket and mirror and give you exactly what you're looking for, but it's not going to exist. And I don't sugarcoat anything. So if you want to get to that mortgage, get to, that vehicle that you want, or that new job that you want, or whatever, the things that you actually need, then I am the one that can get you there. Okay. Right now it is imperative to have good credit. If you don't have it, you're not going to be able to fall back on things. And guess what? Like I said, creditors are closing accounts. They're closing accounts. They're lowering limits because you are risky to them. And even if you are not risky to them, you might have the credit card that's just sitting there collecting dust, and that is not profitable for them or to them. So they are going to close that account. All right. And I can help you with all of these things. You're at a 500 score and need a 740? Fine. Give me a call. Do you not have any credit? You only have negative credit? Okay, fine. Give me a call. All right. So you can obviously see my Facebook at Expert Credit Suites right there. And if you are looking for do-it-yourself stuff, then you can go to services.vargasconsultingworks.com. All right. Whatever it is, you can drop me a line. If I see it, I will reply. If not, you can schedule a call with me for me to take over your file. I do not give free advice. It is on my time. I give free information, like I said, but when I have the time, and I make it for everybody by popular demand. I cannot give free advice one-on-one. All right. So to maximize my time, that is why I create the videos that I do, because they have been requested, or they are a majority based on things that are asked on my YouTube comments or whatever. All right. So I appreciate you staying till the end. Hopefully you didn't just skip through, but that is it from me to you. This was the free inquiry webinar, and I hope you actually took something away from this. And that is it.